Welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at a game called Buckle Up. A game that was actually originally only released in Japan and never seen outside of that region. I actually only came across this only fairly recently. I didn't even know that this game actually existed, so I said, right, I'll give it a go, because again, technically it's like a car game, racing game, and there's exploration elements in it. So it seems to look good from the pictures that I seen, so says, right, I'll try and find it and try and actually play it. So I managed to get to play it and have a few goes of it. And it's very similar to the Runabout series or Felony 1179, if you've actually played any of those games. I've actually done previous videos on those games. I'll leave links in the description so that you can go and check them out, because it's very similar to this type of game. Essentially, you're driving around different maps and environments like cityscapes or whatever, but you're trying to escape the likes of the law, the cops and so forth. But you have to complete objectives in order to be able to progress before you can get on to the next stage. Now, I'll be honest, I never got really too far in this game, because again, with it being in Japanese, it was kind of difficult to figure out really kind of what to actually do in terms of playing the game. Now, the game was pretty much easy enough to pick up and play to some extent, like driving around, but it was a little bit on the fiddly side. But trying to know how to complete some of the tasks, I'll be honest, I kind of found a little bit on the difficult side, and I didn't really understand or know exactly what to do. So I would usually always end up getting caught up like in roadblocks here, like say here with the cops, and you can never get too far because they just keep shooting the hell out of you, which means you wouldn't last too long. So I'd have to have a few retries of the game, as you can see here. So it wasn't really too good for my first couple of attempts. But essentially the premise of the game is you're an outlaw and you're trying to get away from the cops and so forth, but you're trying to complete objectives within the levels that you're designated to. So in order for you to get past certain areas, you have to complete whatever objectives it is within those areas before those blockades will open up, so that you can proceed then to the end of the level. But again, I didn't really know what the objectives were due to I couldn't read the language. So I was just pretty much just driving around, just trying to figure the game out and just trying to have a bit of fun and do a bit of exploration. Now, it's actually not a bad game, it's actually quite fun. It is a bit on the fiddly side, I will admit, in terms of the driving mechanics and the physics, because sometimes the collisions can be a bit messed up at times, so it does kind of hamper you. And like, so you can see there the fact that you're driving a monster truck, which shouldn't have too much of an issue, but the slightest little thing can literally just throw you off, which kind of does be a bit underwhelming at some points. But again, these games here were kind of, they're never expected to be realistic anyway. Like I said, I never even heard about this game outside of Japan. I didn't even, up until recently, I didn't even know this game existed. So it was interesting to actually explore it, and I says, right, I'll go and actually create a video on it and just show it, because there may be people out there like yourselves that actually are wanting to find out more about the PlayStation games and want to know more about them and see if there is anything there and see if it's something that might appeal to you. Because a lot of people like myself, they don't really know about this game or even know that it actually existed. So it is interesting to find games like this here and to see that there is other games out there compared to games I would have been used to or that I would have actually known growing up playing the PlayStation. So it's interesting to see that years on we are getting access to a lot more of these type of games, and there's definitely a lot more unique games out there that are worth actually having a go. Now, it's not to say that they're all brilliant. As we all know, with every console there always is a lot of good games, and there's also a lot of not so good games out there, but they all offer something unique, and it is actually worth actually having a look into them and experiencing them, at least just to see what you think, because you never know, you might find a hidden gem amongst all the games that's out there. And like I mentioned, like with the PlayStation having so many games, and again, like even more so in Japan, it is a good opportunity now to really get stuck in and actually try to experience a lot of these games. Because again, even on the Japanese market, there was a lot of really good games that never seen the light of day pretty much in Europe and America. So now is a really good opportunity to really kind of just explore and just have a go with them and just see what you think. I'm actually enjoying the experience now, being able to find more about all these games and just trying to actually sit down and play them and see what I think of them. And there's a lot of the games now that I'm playing now on this here, and especially games I found out that didn't even exist, that I didn't even know existed, are actually quite enjoyable, even if they're only for a short playthrough. They're definitely worth having a go. So I highly recommend that you have a look at it. If this is something that you've never played before, maybe you can try and figure out a way how to get past it. Because at the minute, apart from driving around, I don't really understand or know what to do. I still haven't been able to figure it out. So, but again, I'm sure I probably will. I'll have another few goes of it at some point and see what's what. But from what I have played of it, it is quite enjoyable. It is a little bit on the fiddly side, but these games I find do be like that to some degree. Because I remember even looking back to the likes of Final 1179 Runabout, I definitely enjoyed those games, but they also were quite fiddly as well in terms of the game mechanics and the driving mechanics and so forth. They took a bit of getting used to as well. So, but once you figure that out, you'll actually have a good laugh with the game. It's quite fun to play. So I'd imagine this would actually be no different. So you kind of do have the freedom to go pretty much anywhere on the map that you can think of, but again there is obstacles that you need to avoid, and you also have to worry about the cops constantly chasing you as well, so that always does have its issues too when you're trying to figure things out. So again, you can just keep exploring like what I was doing and literally just trying to figure out if there's any ways that I can find new areas and stuff. Games like this I do find enjoyable as well, because they always allow you to kind of just test the waters and try to test the game and try to actually just, in terms of exploring, but trying to see if you can find any ways of making your life a wee bit easier when you're playing, or not in this case. It so happens. So it's just one of those things. So these games are quite fun to experience and enjoy all the same. But again, this is one that I'd never even heard of before, so it is worth checking out. So that's it for this video of Buckle Up. Is it something that you've experienced? What are your experiences of it, or did you even know that it existed? Let me know down in the comments below. So again, if you have liked this video, make sure to leave a like. Also hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be updated when I release future videos. And as always, keep playing those classic games and keep those gaming memories alive.